Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports. We will check in with him. They have launched for football, so we'll talk about that as well as the MLB slate that is on the way. Obviously, week 2 of the NFL season gets underway tonight. And if you're like me and you live in a place where you're going to be forced to watch games on an iPad, man, that's the reality. There's nothing I can do about it. My reality where I live is that I cannot just pop onto the Amazon Prime app on my smart TV because we live in a rural area where there is no internet. And I know you're thinking to yourself, really? Those places are real? They are. And there's a lot of us that deal with this. So I would encourage you to improve your Thursday Night Football and viewing experience by getting to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino in Hotel, Maryland, where the game will be on their 100-foot media wall. You can bet. You can earn yourself some free bets. Just going to be a better way to spend the evening with Amazon Prime kicking off. And don't forget this weekend also the Canelo Triple G fight coming up on Saturday. You'll be able to watch that and bet on it also in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Joining us now for Stets and Figures, he is Mr. Andrew Stetka. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning, Glenn.
Is he there? We good?
Should be.
No, let's see if we can't get that figured out. We have a bit of a wonky cord issue going on here in the studio. That's never ideal. We'll try to see if we can't find Andrew Stetka and see if we can't make that work. That is less than ideal. Andrew, you there?
I'm here, Glenn.
All right, good to hear from you. You know how you were mad about the fact that we were hoping to not bet with you in week 1? You remember how you were mad about that?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that. Yeah,
rings a bell for you. And then you remember how you doubled down on that? You said, I'm going to go with all college football bets for week 1?
I remember that as well.
Yeah. You know how that went?
I do know how it went. Yes.
How'd it go?
It did not go well.
No. Well, what would you say not went well? I'm sure you got it. You got 1 or 2, right?
I did not.
No. So what was the record?
It was 0-4.
Do you think maybe we were right to say that we didn't want to bet with you in week 1?
Well, look, betting is a long game, as we know. You can't take a small sample size and cherry pick. So it's got to be a long outlook here.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah, that's a real thing that really happened. Stetka went 0-4, and look, we understand betting's betting, man. You don't win them all. You don't win them. You like to win some. That would be preferable. But you don't win them all. So we'll try to get back on the wagon today. Can I assume that maybe we're not going with 4 college football bets this week?
We're not going with 4 of them, but we do have 1 of them.
I don't know if that's a good idea either. But I'll hear you out. It's time for Stets and Figures with our pal Andrew Stetka. Where are you headed first this week?
We're going to go to Maryland, actually. SMU, Maryland. These are 2 really evenly matched teams. If you look at some of their numbers in terms of total yards per game defense, they're neck and neck, and by the way, not very good. And if you look at the other side of the ball in terms of yards per play offensively, they are neck and neck and quite good. The big difference with these 2 teams is where they are in terms of their discipline. Penalty-wise and turnover-wise, Maryland is near the bottom of the barrel in the NCAA. SMU top 25 in both. So they're good at staying away from the flag. They're good at holding on to the football. So give me SMU on the money line this week. It's up to plus 122 to beat Maryland. The spread is only 2.5, and as I know you hate betting games on the spread if it's under 3, which I understand to an extent. In college, I think it's a little easier to do that because you get a lot of wonky stuff with extra missed extra points and things like that. You can get them at plus 2.5 at even money as well. But give me SMU on the money line. Maryland does not have a propensity for showing up in these big spots, even at home. And I think SMU is going to be able to score on them, kind of at will. So give me the Mustangs on the money line.
Okay. I mean, I definitely think they're going to score a lot of points. I agree with that. I don't see SMU slowing Maryland down, though. You can say I get it, the penalties, I understand. I just don't see anything about what they do. I mean, the 2 teams they played this year, North Texas and Lamar. I mean, we didn't learn anything about their defense in those 2 games. And they weren't particularly good defensively a year ago. So I expect there to be a boatload of points. I think the Maryland defense is going to give up a ton of points in this game. I do. I think there are going to be a boatload of points scored. All right, next up.
Let's turn to tonight's game, a really good one, Chargers and Chiefs. These two teams obviously have really explosive offenses, and we would expect a lot of points, but I really, really think that the total is just super inflated. It's currently sitting at 53.5. I like the under, but even more so than the under, I like the first half under at 27.5. There's a few things to note here. First of all, it's a short week for both teams, obviously, so it becomes harder just to do anything on a shorter week in the NFL. When the total is over 51, Thursday unders are 17-8-1 against the spread all time. You've got to remember, too, the Chargers are going to be without Keenan Allen. That's another ding against an offense there. When that total, by the way, gets up over 54, which is kind of hovered at 53.5, 54.5 all week, the unders moved to 7-0. So just a lot of trend numbers that tell you that this should be an under. Now, the reason I lean toward the first half instead of the full game is because these two teams tend to play some wonky and crazy fourth quarters. We've seen that over the last few seasons. So I get a little bit nervous about just these teams really pushing the ball down the field, going back and forth in a fourth quarter. So give me the first half under 27.5. And you can get that at -140.
I don't hate that.
At FanDuel.
I don't hate that. The thought process is there. I mean, there's still the part where, like, but Mahomes could score 4 touchdowns himself, right? Like, there is still the part where, yes, but there's a good quarterbacks, and good quarterbacks can do magical things. But the thought process is right. I am with you on that. All right, Andrew Stetka is with us here on Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, as we are going over our Stets and Figures for the week. Next up on the list.
This might be an overreaction, which we all do tend to do after week one. But when I looked at the spreads this week, I saw Pittsburgh getting points at home against New England, and I thought, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's just very, 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 very peculiar. The Patriots have a bad offensive line, and I realize that Pittsburgh's going to be without T.J. Watt, but they do still have a guy named Cam Hayward. They're also a very, very good underdog team. Mike Tomlin is 46-23-2 against the spread as an underdog. He is 14-3-2 at home as an underdog in his career with the Steelers. So a few more trend lines for you there. Underdogs are also covering 62% of the time since 2018 when the total is below 42 points. The total for this one is at 40.5. So, week one dogs that come back and are week two road favorites, they're also 4-14-1 against the spread. So it's just, there's, again, a lot of trend lines here, and I just don't think the Patriots are very good. I think they'll pop up here and then and win a game maybe you don't expect them to throughout the season, but I think overall they are clearly at best the third best team in that division. And Pittsburgh at home, I think they can do some things. I think we all tend to forget too that Pittsburgh has upgraded their quarterback situation this season. That's not something we like to admit, but I'm not
ready to
drill through our head.
I'm not ready to say upgraded, but it ain't worse, right? Like, and that's one of the things that I've talked about a lot going up to this, is that one of the reasons why people were convinced that the Steelers were going to have to take a step back is because what exactly? Like, where are they worse than they were a year ago? And I think it's just the way that people work, that they remember that Ben Roethlisberger used to be good, and they forget the fact that he wasn't good a year ago. Now, again, Mitchell Trubisky has not earned the right to say he's definitely better than even a bad Ben Roethlisberger yet. Now, he might be. It might very well be that he just has more life in his arm, and that alone makes him better. But, he's got to prove that as the season goes on. I agree with you, and when I saw that, I was just terribly confused by that line. Like, what in the hell are we doing here? That being said, there's also the danger of buying too much into what happened in 1 week, and that for the most part, FanDuel is still saying, hey, this is what we thought of these teams coming into the season, so we're not gonna move that all that much. In talking to the folks there, that probably doesn't start changing until weeks 3 and 4, when you start saying, hey, look, whatever we thought they were going to be, they ain't that, so we need to adjust because of it. So all those things are relevant, but I am with you. I hate agreeing with you ever. It never feels good, but I agree. I do not get this line. But it teeters on being such a stink line, that somebody's got to know something. Like, somebody's got to know that Najee Harris isn't playing in this football game. There's just no way this line exists to me unless somebody knows something about this football game. And what's the last one for you?
Sunday night, we've got a rivalry game that isn't that much of a rivalry because it's pretty lopsided, and that would be the Packers against Chicago. Packers minus 9.5 in this one. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. He even said as much. What was that, last season? That he owns that team, and he really does. He especially owns them at home. He he covers at home 66% of the time against the Bears. He covers 74% of the time as a favorite against the Bears. And teams that lose by double digits in week one, like the Packers did, are actually 40, 25, and 2 against the spread in the next week, in week two in the last decade. Another one for you, Matt LaFleur is 9-0 straight up and against the spread after a loss. So, I expect the Packers to bounce back in a big way. The Bears were a nice story last week. I actually, I did like them against the Niners, especially when you saw the weather. It's just an equalizer. It was a nice story for them to get that win. But I think the Packers are going to come back with a vengeance this week. I like them to get a double-digit victory against the Bears at home.
I hope you're right, because I employ Aaron Rodgers on a fantasy football team of sorts, and boy, that was rough. That was really rough. All right.
Yeah, and I don't know that the Packers are as good as the Vikings long term either. I like the Vikings in that division overall, but I do think there's a gap that's still down to the Bears.
I tend to agree with that. All right, at A Stetka on Twitter is how you follow him. You know what, man? I want you to know I have confidence. You're not going 0-4 this week. You're not. You're gonna at least get one out of these 4 this week. And if you do, we're gonna retailor the segment to say fade Andrew Stetka for the next couple of weeks is the way that it's going to
be. Well, there's only one place to go from here, Glenn, and that's up.
Well, or not. There's the other option where you just stay right there. All right, buddy. We will talk to you in a couple weeks. Thank you, pal.
All right, cheers.
Andrew Stetka, Stets and Figures this week on Weekend at Bookies. Just so you know, as far as lines are concerned, again, the Ravens game currently sits Ravens minus 3.5. The total 44.5. Ravens minus 190 on the money line at home. Be interesting to see what those numbers would be. Like 3.5, traditionally it's been 3 points. So 3.5 suggests that they would be slight favorites on the road. I don't know. It might very well be that if they were on the road, it was a pick 'em. Like, it's totally possible that's the way that it would play out. But 3.5 for the Ravens at home this week against the Dolphins. And as Stetka pointed out, 2.5 for Maryland against SMU, the big football games in the area this weekend. It's worth pointing out, I mentioned that you can also watch the fight on Saturday. Canelo Alvarez against Triple G. Right now, Canelo Alvarez, significant favorite, minus 500. A draw. Remember, the first of the 3 fights between these guys did finish in a draw. Draw 20-1, plus 2,000. Triple G, plus 4.
How do you bet on a draw? I want to know, like.
You would.
Well, I mean, what are you rooting for when you're watching? Like, what are you rooting for? You're just like, okay,
whoever
you
won,
punch now, you punch.
Whoever won the previous round, you're rooting, for the guy. Of course, there's no way for you to know that. They don't live. It's just everybody's opinion of what the scores are. But whoever you think won the previous round, you're probably rooting for the other guy in the next round. Like, it's tough. It's
take some balls to bet on
It's
the draw,
unlikely, but remember,
it's very possible.
It already happened when these guys got together. So just keep that in mind. When we come back in, we will catch up with our buddy Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports. They have launched for football. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the day's baseball slate that is on the way. This is Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented Presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stetka and Alloy Sports Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
The Maryland Lottery presents Ravens' Greatest Plays. 2021, the game on the line. With 3 seconds left, the Ravens connect on an impossibly long 66-yard field goal to beat Detroit, the longest field goal in history. Another great Ravens play belongs to Touchdown Joe from Silver Spring. Joe scratched a Ravens scratch-off and won a top prize of $100,000. You could be next. Play Ravens scratch-offs to win instant cash or enter to win great second-chance prizes. Please play responsibly.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling. A complete outdoor cooking appliance, the Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone from novices to grill masters to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. Constructed out of thick ceramic, the Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com. That's ginsugrills.com.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
Getting cooked over here. What is going on? Appreciate the new rejoiners, guys, but that is rough. You're actually listening to Weekend at Bookies, which is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, where bet pads are available, and you can just camp out on Saturday or Sunday. Get there early, put the money on your bet pad, and you don't even have to go back up to the window or the kiosks at any point during the day. You can just keep making your bets all day long right there on your bet pad as you hang out, enjoy the delicious food at Sports and Social. Watch all of the games on the 100-foot media wall. And again, they're offering some free bets right now. You make a $25 parlay bet, they're offering you the opportunity to get a $5 free bet. You have to come back in order. You can't use it the same day. You got to come back the following week in order to use it. It's got to be on a same-game parlay of plus 500 or more. But a great opportunity for you to get some free bets to play in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. All right. Joining us now, Alloy Sports, where they have launched for football, as well as, of course, baseball continues. He is our buddy, Brad Kronthal, and he's with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Brad, what's going on, pal? How you doing?
Doing great, Glenn. App is launched. We're really...
Brad, I apologize. We are having some issues. It's not Griffin's fault. I want you to know that. It's not Griffin's fault. We're just go ahead and adjust the cord if you don't mind for me, Griffin, and we will see if we can't get that figured out. Technology betraying us. So it is. Brad, you got me?
Can you hear me, Glenn?
I got you fine. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you as always. All right, so we're into football season with Alloy Sports. Tell me what it is that people can do in order to become better, more informed bettors this season.
Oh my gosh, we're so pumped to be live. We're here for week 2. We launched last week, so if you're on an iOS and you need an iPhone, but we are live on the App Store. Alloy Sports. Really excited. We had a few good strategies we're pumping out. Did want to be wary of people betting the first couple of the weeks of the season with the back-tested data. You know, the first couple of weeks are pretty crazy, but, you know, use the data from our app and you can build your own betting strategy. So we're really excited to be live and people should be coming to us and we can help you win more bets. We show you the data. You build whatever you think leads to winning and go from there.
Anything in particular that you felt like you learned about how the data worked in week 1?
Well, so there's one thing that, we know, and we try to be very transparent here is, you want to take the past year's data, but also use, your knowledge and the season as a starting point. So with week 1, that, past year's data did not calculate for Russell Wilson being on the Broncos. So that's just something you need to be wary of. So always in the first, couple weeks of the NFL season, or really any sport, you want to be, more of a wary better, throw some fun bets in there, use the data, but, wait until you build up a significant sample size before you start feeling good about putting more money down and having more confidence in your bets. But it's a good place to get started for the first couple weeks. So it's fun to throw some bets down, but not get too into it or throwing big money down with the data, just waiting for this year's sample size to build up.
Can you give me an example of a strategy? So there are still probably people that are like, yeah, I keep hearing you talk about Alloy Sports and strategies, and that sounds, but I still don't really understand. Can you give me an example of a strategy maybe for football season that you can build as you use the Alloy Sports app?
Yeah, absolutely. So one great perk when you sign up for free is we're loading 2 previously built strategies by our team on the homepage. So you already have 2 successful strategies when you sign up for free. The last time I think I mentioned it was our road grader strategy. I'm not sure we named it at the time 2 weeks ago, but last week we used that. I think we picked a pass. That didn't go as well, but it did like the Cleveland Browns, and that one hit. So for this week, I'll mention our second preloaded strategy. We're calling it the peanut punch strategy. So basically we're putting stats and filters into these strategies, and then we tell you how it's performed in the past year. So for this strategy in particular, the peanut punch, going off of Charles Tillman's days back with the Bears, a little Marlon Humphrey from 2 years ago.
Yeah, man.
We're looking at strong defenses that specifically are forcing fumbles and turnovers, and we filtered out, just looking at in-division matchups. Those gritty games where interdivision teams are playing each other. So we back tested for the last 2 years. We separate our upcoming games into different buckets. So we found profitable games in what we're calling our close underdogs bucket. So when the spread range is between 0 and +5. So 2 games this week fit.
What are those 2 games?
Well, you got to sign up. No, that's why I'm on the show. So,
all right, not bad. Not bad, Brad. Not bad.
to make it really simple, there's 2 games that fit. So from this strategy over the last 2 years, it's won 57% of the time, got about a 45-game sample size, and a return on investment of your money of 14%. So basically, you're winning money if you bet on these games in the past 2 years.
All right.
So it actually has a play for tonight.
That makes sense.
And it likes the Chargers.
Okay.
So consensus is +4, but at FanDuel I saw it was +3.5. So you probably want to get in on that if you like the Chargers, if you like this strategy, before that hook goes, if it does in Kansas City's favor. You want to get that bet in before it drops down.
Very good. Again, you can sign up for free and download the Alloy Sports app. You can go to alloysports.com in order to find out more. He is Brad Kronthal. He is with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Brad, as always, we ask that you just take a look at the baseball slate and see if there's anything in particular that catches your eye. Of course, the Orioles could use a little help. Anything that you see that you like for tonight?
Yeah, so there's a couple games I like. I wish the O's were on tonight. Gosh, it was fun watching Gunnar Henderson, play the last couple of days and since his call-up. But, we'll make do with the slate tonight. So I'm looking at the Jays and Rays, heavy implications as far as the playoffs in this game. I'm looking at the first 5 innings, first half. I'm going under 3.5 total runs. It's Gausman versus McClanahan.
Yeah.
Looking at the series so far, the teams are 2-2 when scoring 4 or more runs in the first 5 innings. I see 2 aces on the hill. I just don't believe Tampa Bay's offense is going to get to Gausman. So it's really, can McClanahan, hold down Toronto? And he had a great start. I don't think he gave up a run in his last start. So I'm going to go with the under 3.5 runs on the first 5 innings at -112.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. Of course, there's always the weird, and we always talk about it, there's the weird, Thursday afternoon getaway day thing on top of that, where it just feels like guys are up there, maybe swinging a little bit more, maybe not dug in for the entirety of the night, where they're thinking about getting on a plane and maybe where they're having dinner, something like that. I actually love that one on the first 5 innings with Gausman and McClanahan on the mound. Anything else that jumps out at you on the slate today?
2 more games. One, this is really an intuition-based game. Mets are hosting the Pirates, or Mets are facing the Pirates, I should say. Carrasco versus Brubaker. The Mets just got swept by the Cubs. I like the Mets on the run line. I think they're going to be, have some vengeance in the series. Brubaker's pitched pretty well lately for the Pirates, but Mets need to wake up. They're only a half game ahead of the Atlanta Braves there in the NL East. So they need to wake up with the bats, and I think they do so tonight. Brubaker's career ERA versus New York is 10.83. So I think the Mets win by 2 or more.
Yikes. I do like that. That's good. Of course, maybe the Mets would be doing better if Buck Showalter went ahead and got on Twitter, as he called it. If you did not see this week the video of Buck talking about social media at a press conference, it is just perfection. It reminds you of how much you love Buck. At one point, he uses the phrase, "Buck don't dance," and it's just everything that all of us that love that man could ask for. I encourage you to just search for Buck Showalter right now on Twitter, and you will find this video of Buck Showalter talking about social media. Actually, Griffin, do me a favor, pull it up when we finish with Brad. We will share it for people if they have not seen it. It's spectacular. And then, and by the way, it's tied in the loss column too in the NL East, so very even there. And then what's the other one for you, Brad?
Yeah, so right before my last pick, Glenn, I mean, you've been to many Buck press conferences in Baltimore when he was managing the O's. I mean, I think the best things in Buck's press conference, and they happen every day, are the stuff you wouldn't see on TV usually. I mean, this would happen every day. So you remember all those funny tidbits there. I mean, the guy is absolutely incredible. He's a national treasure.
Love him so much. Love him so much. And then, all right, what's the last one for you?
Last play. Padres, Diamondbacks. This one hits home. I have Sean Manaea on my fantasy team. He's been terrible. So he has a 9.21 ERA in his last 6 starts.
Not
so even
great.
threw him out of the pen a few days ago just to get some work in because he's been so bad. The Diamondbacks, they've been hitting the ball relatively well. Not against the Dodgers, though. They just lost their swag, as most teams do. They're starting a rookie tonight, Dre Jameson, MLB debut. He's a 6.31 ERA in the minors. I think this might just be too obvious. I like the over. Padres bats have been struggling, but they're facing a guy in their MLB debut. And just to throw it out there just for fun, Manny Machado, 299 this season average, 28 home runs, 90 RBI, 904 OPS. He's incredible. I think just throwing that out for fun. Great name here. I think the game hits the over 9 runs at -112.
Hard for me to argue any of that. Brad, remind everybody where they can find you on social media and Alloy on social media. Give me the whole rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me at B_Kronthal, Kronthal. You can follow us at Alloy Sports, and then download the app. It's totally free. Alloy Sports on the App Store for iOS. Build your own betting strategies in under 30 seconds. We got a really awesome slate for the football week, week 2 and beyond.
Brad, appreciate you as always, my friend. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks, all right?
Awesome, Glenn.
Brad Kronthal, Alloy Sports, checking in with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Appreciate him doing that. All right, we are going to get a gratuitous grouping from Griffin before we wrap up for Weekend at Bookies. Did you find the audio that I was discussing? It is
yes, I did.
So magical. This is Buck Showalter just this week in a press conference. Don't know how exactly it came up, but I'm so glad it did.
Somebody actually said to me the other day, "Hey, did you read the thing on Twitter or something?" I think when I'm done, maybe I'm going to join that. Should I? Why? Why should I? Because it will enhance my life and I will enjoy my life more?
People need to hear what you want to say.
No, they don't. What's TikTok? What's the difference between, seriously, we can talk about this off somewhere. What's the difference between TikTok and Twitter and FaceTime and all the others? See, y'all are all rolling your eyes. What is the difference between TikTok and Twitter?
TikTok's a video.
Dancing.
Okay.
So you should join TikTok.
Buck don't dance.
No.
Last time I danced at my daughter's wedding with her.
So there's that. There's that. Maybe they could have put that on the old TikTok or the tweeter. I love the man. I love him so much. So much. It's Buck Showalter. What a blessing it was to have that man here. No offense to Brandon Hyde, who's done a very nice job. But
yeah,
goddamn,
Buck was.
Need the Mets to get their act figured out so I can root for them if the Orioles don't make the playoffs. Need the Mets to get their act straight so I can try to see Buck push to winning a World Series and getting maybe a spot in Cooperstown. That would be tremendous. All right, Griffin, 2 gratuitous groupings ago, you came through big time. You were a big winner.
And then I went 3 for 4 in my last.
Unfortunately, when you go 3 for 4, that means you lost. You don't get partial credit when it comes to
leads.
Parlay bet. Yeah, those stupid leads.
They forgot how to freaking play soccer against Brentford. It was disgusting to watch.
Yeah,
and especially when my 3 other legs hit. So.
And Michael Scott wasn't giving them to the whole office that one time when the other branch closed down. They needed those leads.
Good one.
All right, gratuitous grouping for this week. Where are we headed?
We are first things first, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Make sure you are up bright and early.
No chance I'll miss it.
Aussie Rules football semifinals.
What?
Geelong Cats minus 320. Most sure bet ever.
Is it?
Yes. Geelong has not lost since the month of May.
Then why aren't they bigger favorites?
I probably because it's playoffs, but I mean they could probably be minus 1,000 favorites. Geelong loves playing the Brisbane Lions. Did I say? I think I called them the Lions. Brisbane Lions, who they're playing. They've only beaten Geelong twice since 2013 in 13 matchups.
I don't even know where to find this.
It's on the left side. It says Aussie Rules. And it's alphabetical, so nice and easy to find. So if you're feeling fruity, you could probably take the Geelong
minus 330 now.
Perfect.
Well, I mean,
it means it's moving towards, it's a sure thing. They're not going to lose. If you're feeling fruity, you can take that minus 21.5.
Feeling fruity?
Yeah.
I mean, froggy?
Both.
No, I don't. I think they're very different
things.
This
is an
Griffin.
excellent parlay starter.
I think
we're going to get off to
a
great start.
Stop.
Tomorrow morning it should be done,
Let's make sure we say
I think.
it as froggy. The other thing could be considered derogatory towards someone, all right? So let's call it froggy, which is what you're supposed to say, and not just immediately move on. It's okay. When we make mistakes, we just acknowledge we made a mistake, and we don't do it again. That's the way that works.
Okay.
Next.
5:50 tomorrow morning. Don't want to miss the Geelong slaughtering of Brisbane. Okay. Next up, we are going to go to College Park.
Only minus 110 to win the flag, which I guess is what they call it in the Australian Football League.
That's pretty.
If you think they're so unbeatable, then shouldn't you just take them?
Well, I want to get this win. I want to get. It's a great start to this 4-leg parlay that I'm building right here.
All right.
That is going to hit. So next we're going to College Park, and Stetka was scaring me when he was talking about it so much. But fortunately, I went with the over 73.5. I wish we got it earlier in the week when it was 69, when it was at 69. But I'm still not worried. Yeah.
Nice.
Because I don't think there's going to be a lick of defense played in this. I like the over probably all the way up to like 80, maybe even 90.
Yikes.
But it's probably going to be like a 45, 48, some kind of score like that.
I do believe you're right. I think there's going to be a boatload of points scored.
So you should be able to relax. By halftime, it should be pretty much, in hand. So take that Maryland SMU over 73.5, and then right just in time after that game hits the over, go ahead and switch over to the main event of the UFC. Corey Sandhagen taking on Song Yadong, which should be a really, really fun fight. But Corey Sandhagen, he's going to win this one. I'm going to go with my favorite bet where you go over to round props, and you're going to take Corey Sandhagen to win in round 4, 5, or by decision at minus 115.
Okay.
Sandhagen's only losses are to champions of the bantamweight division, and one of those losses was a split decision loss to TJ Dillashaw, but that I think he actually won. He did so well in the fight that they gave him a title shot even after losing. Technically losing, it was a split decision. I think it should have. But Song Yadong, he's got great potential. He's just nowhere near that championship level yet that Corey Sandhagen is currently at. He's only 24. He's gonna be back here. He's 24 years old and he has 26 pro fights already.
Wow.
He went pro when he was 15 years old.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he's but he's never had to go 5 rounds. So this is going to be unfamiliar territory for him when he gets into those deeper rounds. Sandhagen's been there many times against future Hall of Famers of the sport. So
all right.
That's a sure bet. Minus 115. I love that value there. And then finally on Sunday, you're not going to be watching NFL football because you're going to be watching the PLL final.
Ah.
Water Dogs take on the Chaos, and this is an easy pick, and we're lucky to get it even money. We're taking the Water Dogs over the Chaos. Chaos have had a magical postseason, but they were never supposed to be here. They snuck into the playoffs at the very they somehow knocked off Logan Wisnauskas in the Chrome and stumbled their way into the final here. But that magic is going to wear off against the Dogs. They beat the Whipsnakes last weekend, who have been in every other PLL final. So this is the first final without the Whipsnakes. So there's no way the Dogs are not going to finish.
Michael Sowers is on that team. His brother plays at Stevenson.
Oh, cool. Plus Water Dogs.
That's what I've got to offer.
Yeah. Well, plus the Water Dogs, they got 2 Carroll County guys on the team. So I got Dogs by 1 million.
Who's from Carroll County?
Ryan Brown.
Oh,
and
okay,
he went to forget where he went to. He's from Sykesville though. And then
Ryan Brown played at Hopkins.
That's right. Yeah, played at Hopkins. And then Jake Higgins, I think. He went to Gerstel in Carroll County. He's from Hampstead.
Okay.
So my Carroll County guys, they're going to knock off.
Played at Maryland?
I think he did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Jake Higgins, right?
Jake Higgins,
okay,
yeah.
Jake Higgins.
So, yeah, got the Water Dogs -110 to win over
Connor
the Chaos.
Kelly's on that roster, too. I didn't know that. Okay.
There you go. So even more reason to bet on the Dogs.
I don't care. I'm sorry. I wish, as a lacrosse guy, I wish I could get into the PLL.
Yeah.
There is no reason
I don't
for me to
understand
be
why
invested
the
in a single team.
championship is on NFL Sunday.
Probably because I believe it's on ABC, and that's what ABC said is like this is when we'll give you.
So
if you want to be on ABC, this is when you have to be on ABC because.
Well, so my idea is that they should revamp the schedule so that like the final falls on Labor Day. Don't you think that would be?
Yeah, I mean it would be better.
Like a great,
I agree. It would be
like
better.
similar to how the college championship is on Memorial Day.
Yeah, I mean it would definitely be better. I don't know what it would require.
Right.
I think there was a bye week in there, so you just have to give up a bye week and then cut the season by. I mean, look, man, this is difficult for me to talk about because I just will never be able to get into a league when there's no regional reason for me to care. Like this thing where you want to create, like you want to make it like NASCAR, you want to make it like you just root for players. Sports will never be that way for me. There will never be a day where
you got tennis. I mean,
yes, because it's an individual sport. Like that's for a team sport. I can like a player all I want. That's not going to make me a massive fan of the team. I loved Shaquille O'Neal before I had a basketball team. Before I ever moved to Phoenix, I loved Shaquille O'Neal. So I was inclined to root for the team that Shaquille O'Neal was playing for, but it wasn't intrinsic. It wasn't like I've got to plan my week around making sure I can watch the Magic or watch the Lakers or anything like that. It was just hey, if a game's on and Shaq is playing for one of those teams and somebody's watching it, I'm going to root for that because I like Shaq. Team sports to me are regional. Team sports are I have to have a vested interest for some reason. I have to have this is the Maryland team, the Baltimore team, the whatever it's going to be. And this is never – if it works for kids, it works for kids. And maybe in 30 years, they'll laugh at me and they'll say, dude, you were a dinosaur. We weren't going for you. We were going for kids. And we completely changed the way that people – I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they might, again, try to do propaganda to make it seem like that's the case. But – I think eternally team sports are going to be regionalized. I think that going out and watching the PLL is amazing because you're watching the best athletes in the world and they're playing at very high levels, and I love that. But when they're not playing in Baltimore, I can't. It's just not for me. If you're into it, awesome. I'm not knocking what somebody else is into. I said this a million times. I ain't into My Little Pony, but when they were bringing 20,000 people to Baltimore in the summer that were My Little Pony fans, I'm grateful for them. You don't have to be into something in order to recognize its thing. I think the PLL has performed at an admirable level. I don't think they've risen. I don't think they've raised the level of lacrosse just because they've got some partnership with Barstool Sports. I think that certainly helps in an age range that more people maybe are aware of the PLL because of it. I don't think that suddenly they've made, pro lacrosse anything more than it was when the MLL existed. For me, the MLL was better because there was a regional team, because I knew who to root for. Sorry, I'm going off in a tangent here.
Well, no, I'm glad I
didn't mean to do that. Anyway,
turn the conversation.
Your bet
so
is the
plus,
Water Dogs.
Yes. So Geelong -330 tomorrow morning against the Brisbane Lions. Over 73.5 Maryland in the Maryland SMU game. Corey Sandhagen to win in round 4-5 or by decision -115. and the Water Dogs over the Chaos. Parlay all those at plus 780.
Yep. If you were to put a $20 bet in and it were to hit, it would pay out at $156.06. So we will see.
Rich.
We will see if Griffin's gratuitous grouping can hit once again. All right. And by the way, again, I still root for the success of pro lacrosse. I want to make it very. This is not me being anti. I want it to do well because I love the sport.
Go start your own league.
Yeah. No. I love the sport. I love the athletes. I love all of it. I want it to do well. All right. That'll be it for Weekend at Bookies. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate going on that rant. Thanks to Brad Kronthal. Thanks to Andrew Stetka for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday for Simply the Bets. Get to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel this weekend. Enjoy all of the action, the Canelo Triple G fight. You can watch it for free. Don't have to pay a penny. There's no cover. Come in, and you can win money betting on the fight in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. This has been Weekend at Bookies. May the odds be ever in your favor.